All right. Good morning, everyone. Brad Roltgen here with the Fresno Bitcoin and Cryptocurrency Investors Group. Today, we're going to kind of look at how the crypto market possibly has changed, or our outlook or strategies have changed since Trump got into the White House. Obviously, it's been a whirlwind, very crypto um, positive, with things he's doing. And so we just want to kind of talk about that and maybe get some good ideas and thoughts from each other. I do want to mention real quick. I know I've talked to a couple of you directly that are new joining us. We've seen a bunch of new people join here online that we do once a month, as well as our in-person meetings. And I'm going to try to do some topics on these Zooms geared a little more towards beginner and basic things. Compared to what we've been doing the last year or so. The past year, 2 years has been more of us advanced folks and getting into new things as they come out. But what I've noticed is that um, especially talking to a few of them at the meeting, what these newbies are doing is way more advanced than what you know a lot of us were doing as newbies 5, 6, 7 years ago, kind of thing. So I really want to get your feedback on, where you're at, what you're looking to do, especially like roadblocks. That's my big thing is if you come to the meeting and there's a roadblock that I can't figure out how to move this coin to here, or I can't figure out how to buy this coin, or I can't figure out whatever, is bring that up. Either, raise your hand, throw it in chat, whatever, and we'll talk about that. So at least when you go away at the end of the meeting, hopefully you'll, um, be able to get around that roadblock or have some strategies, that kind of thing. Um, and we'll go from there. Let me show you. I've got can everybody see the screen okay with the meetup invite? Okay, cool. So what we do every meeting is I have this Google Doc where we kind of put in notes, as opposed so everybody doesn't have to write down links and that kind of thing. And then you can always go back to this Google Doc and review them there. If you would like to contribute to the Google Doc, if you can hit request access, then I will give you access to the document, and then you can help me put links and that kind of stuff there. Or the other option is to put them into chat, and then I'll copy them over there as I can. But sometimes things get going and I can't talk and listen and think and put things into the doc at one time. So any help on that would be great. All right, so let's see. Let me check with where did David go? David, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
I'm cooking French toast and stuff. I'm multitasking.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, you're almost close enough that I'd come over and grab some, but we got to do this meeting. And looks like we've got the nurses joined us here to help in case we get into some rough spots. Welcome. Uh, where are you
Hello.
where are you checking in from?
Is my audio on?
Yeah, we can hear you just
Okay.
great. Yeah.
From Colorado Springs.
Okay. Well, welcome.
Hmm.
Welcome. So
Thank
we're
you.
getting into it here. So David, you're obviously into all this at a
Oh
high,
yeah.
tell us your thoughts where you think things have changed since Trump has gotten into it, and what are you seeing that's a little different than a month or two ago?
It's kind of the start of. I'm actually surprised it hasn't kind of taken off more actually with all the things he talked about. He's already done some positive changes, but just the whole ability to appoint the whole cryptos are, and then we're going to get a clear kind of framework regulations for companies to use to grow. And the fact that he wants America to be like a crypto leader
Hmm.
is very encouraging. And I think it's just going to like multiply opportunities for all of us. And I'm praying with all my might that he falls through on his promise to remove taxes on crypto because I will basically be able to live tax free if that happens. That would be like the dream, right? So we'll
Yeah.
see what happens or not.
Yeah, and he's mentioned that, like no taxes on tips and overtime and Social Security, that kind of thing. So that'd be nice to go away. Yeah, could you
Yeah,
imagine what a boon that would be to if people were making their more of their income from crypto and not having to deal with that? That might be very
yeah,
cool.
He said a
Yeah.
few different things. Like he said once he would eliminate all taxes, and another thing he said he would only eliminate taxes if you made profit from like an American crypto company. So we'll see. What you never know what it'll actually end up being, but he's already kept a lot of his promises. So it's just extremely encouraging for the momentum and God bless the Department of Government Efficiency.
Um,
That's
um, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah. And then the
yeah,
one thing I've noticed too is all these countries and we saw some companies talking about it before, but now countries talking about setting up a Bitcoin reserve, type
yep,
of thing. And I mean, when they come in, they're not talking about 10,000, 50,000. They're like talking, 100 million, 500 million for Saudi Arabia, half, a billion, whatever.
billions, yeah,
Yeah,
billions, and that's how we get to $1 million for Bitcoin.
exactly.
And beyond. So it's the momentum is shifting there, and like really, like whenever America does something, everyone just follows us.
Right.
So like that, it's about ready to explode, and I'm actually surprised we haven't seen more of it. I think it's the kind of big whales. They keep trying to dump the market so they can keep buying more cheap. You know what I mean? Like every time a thing happens, they're just scooping up as much as they can. So don't uh, don't panic if the market tanks. It's just the whales trying to buy more for cheap. You know what I mean? That's all they're doing.
Right, right. There's still, the whole market is still only, what are we at, 3.2, 3.4 trillion. So it's
Yeah,
just compared to the rest of the financial, is still
yeah.
just a drop in the bucket. Okay. Okay. Good. Anybody else want to chime in kind of what their thoughts are seeing? Things going on? Go ahead, Steve. I see your lips are getting ready to move.
Yeah, I want to make sure my audio was not muted. Yeah, I've had mixed feelings, but it's just emotions about Trump's crypto journey so far. The a lot of big promises in the campaign at the Bitcoin convention last year, and a lot of talk about making Bitcoin a strategic reserve. And so far, I got a little spun out about some of the stuff that he'd done about himself, like create the meme coin for himself, Melania,
Yeah.
World Liberty Financial, and it looks like he's doing a lot of stuff for himself to set himself up in crypto. And so I'm on, by the way, I am on Twitter or X, whatever you want. There, my name is Marquis de Crypto. So anyway, I just go anonymous there. And so I was kind of throwing that out there. Hey, man, I'm a little disappointed. And a lot of folks, um, like Brad Garlinghouse that runs XRP, he actually didn't respond to me, but he responded to everybody that was worried. He said, "Hey, if you're upset about what Trump's doing, you're missing the forest for the trees." And then he posted all of the things that Trump has done so far for crypto. And then when I did look at that list, I thought, okay, I was just getting emotional because my crypto's going down, and Trump was going to be this great guy, and I got caught in the emotions. I was looking at it a little negatively. Looks like he's using crypto to serve himself, but really he has done a lot. It's kind of foundational pieces that I think will help us, in the upcoming couple of months. But like everybody, I wanted my Bitcoin, to be 20% higher by the end of January. So when that didn't happen, I got upset. But if you examine mentally, get the emotions out of it, they've actually done a lot of stuff. I saw just this week that the SEC, they had a lot of people who are attorneys for the SEC who were attacking crypto in the past have been removed and repositioned. In other words, hey, Joe Blow, you're no longer going to be attacking crypto. We're going to reposition you over here. And so there's a lot of steps like that that I think are important. They're not driving up the price of crypto right now, but I think they're still laying the foundation. And so I did watch David Sachs, which is the new crypto czar for Trump, had a press conference the other day. Again, he didn't throw out anything like jaw dropping, but he talked about laying the groundwork for crypto. And then in the question and answers, by the way, he never mentioned Bitcoin. He literally didn't mention strategic reserve. But at the end, when he opened it up to questions and answers, somebody did ask him about that. And he said, yeah, that's a big priority. The president wants us to make it a priority to look at a strategic reserve. So I think all the pieces are kind of coming together, but I think we're going to have to be patient. And I agree really with what David just said. By the way, I have not sold one drop of Bitcoin or really any of my stable coins because I agree with what David just said. The whales, the big shots, right now, they would prefer crypto to be down a little bit so they can keep buying, and they drive out nervous people. So I've been there before. So I know what it's like to be nervous and like, oh no, I lost 10% today. Maybe I should get out right now before I lose more. And I'm not doing that now. I'm holding everything. I'm willing to write it down, even if it goes down a little bit more. I'm going to write it because I agree with David. I think the whales, the big shots, they would enjoy buying Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, Ethereum. They would enjoy buying those big shots down, those big stable coins down a little bit lower, because I think they truly believe that there's a lot of good stuff that's going to start coming up at the end of the quarter.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Steve. Go back, and when you mentioned stable coins, I think that was maybe the wrong term to use. I know
Okay. Altcoins.
The altcoins, right? There we go. Okay.
Altcoins,
Especially
yeah.
for
You're right.
the beginner folks, I don't want to
No, you're
think
right.
like,
You're right.
how does your
I actually listed altcoins when I said Ethereum, XRP. Now, if it was my perfect world, I would make the strategic reserve about Bitcoin. That's me. But Trump is talking about including other altcoins. And to me, that's a little sketchy. We'll probably make a lot of money with that. But to me, Bitcoin is the backbone of the whole thing. And I would love to see the United States invest in Bitcoin. And then everybody else will go up too. But those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear if other people feel like the altcoins, Ethereum and XRP should be included in the strategic reserve. I own more XRP than I own Bitcoin. So trust me, I would love XRP to take off. But I think theoretically, there's a difference between XRP and Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not controlled by anybody. XRP has a board of directors, and so to me, Bitcoin is the pure play for strategic reserve. But I'd love to hear what you guys think about including other coins.
Okay, let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum there. Steve and I have known each other for, 15 years, so we can kind of give each other the business. And he's a very emotional guy, like you mentioned about that. And let's go to the other end of that spectrum. I think is going to be Phil. Phil, I know we've only known each other a couple of years, but you seem to be very unemotional about these trades and buys and sells and that kind of thing. Where are you coming from? And go ahead and unmute too. Yeah, cool.
Oh, hey.
Everybody up. Everybody's still, you guys have different hours than I got.
Yep.
Wait, did we get somebody else?
Sorry, I got to mute myself. I'm away from my phone.
Oh, okay. Thanks, David. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, so just a couple random thoughts. One is, since the last time we met, I thought it was interesting how quickly, efficiently, and effectively TikTok was shut down before it came back up. And that really shows you the power of the government to turn off a digital service. So I was thinking about if there were ever a situation where the US dollar was, really severely threatened by crypto, or there was something going on, it wouldn't take much to shut down all the internet services to crypto if they can do it that fast and easily with TikTok. This was actually an observation others made, and I read about, and I thought, oh yeah, that's a good point. So, people often tout gold as a good alternative because it's physical. You can hide it under your mattress and they can't take it away from you. But that's kind of a risk with the digital assets, right? Because you're dependent on all this infrastructure. And ultimately, the government has a lot more control than you even think they have in terms of keeping that infrastructure running. So that's just one kind of random thought I thought I'd share since it's happened since the last time we met. The other one is around regulatory framework. I'm very interested to see how that turns out for the altcoins, because if you look at how they regulate markets today, and in particular trading instruments, whether they're stocks or futures, every individual one has to go through a registration process and is subject to that regulation. I don't know how they can possibly do that with, thousands of altcoins in a decentralized global exchange system. So I'm wondering if they only regulate a handful of the altcoins that, maybe based on volume or capitalization or something, or if they regulate them as a category and not individually. So there are some general kind of regulations, because they just couldn't possibly regulate them individually. And because they're decentralized globally, they don't really have the authority to do much anyway. Or third, what I would really like to see, especially for some of the DeFi platforms that US traders aren't allowed to use today, is when you go in as a customer, you see a disclaimer that says this is not regulated by the US government. Maybe with a couple of exceptions, like if you, transfer funds to and from your bank or something. But you basically sign a waiver saying, yeah, I'm okay with that. The SEC and the CFTC aren't going to protect me. So you're relying more on the whole ecosystem to do its job. And that would just open up everything. And of course, there's still, room for fraud and everything in there, but it's you sign a disclaimer, it's buyer beware. Hopefully you're sophisticated enough to be using it, or you shouldn't be, stick with stocks, buy IBM. So I'm really curious to see how they do this regulatory framework and how much it opens up for US traders.
Yeah, we had talked about regulation last month or the month before. What does that actually mean? What would they actually be doing if they regulated, let's say, Litecoin, just since they kind of, I don't know what the heck Litecoin is doing anymore, but if they regulated Litecoin, what would that actually mean?
Well,
What,
I'm assuming that it would be regulated as a non-security commodity, so it would come under the CFTC, unless they
okay.
create a whole new regulatory agency for digital assets. I guess that's another possibility too. Um, so, that just means that um, there are certain, particularly with futures, certain margin requirements, and um, maybe reserves have to be kept. Yeah, I'm not sure.
By the reserves by the Litecoin organization, that kind of
Maybe.
thing.
I know,
Okay.
SEC has rules around for stocks around providing financial statements that are audited and all that. I just don't know you can do all that with all these thousands of altcoins.
That's
So
yeah, that's kind of my point. And then it's like, are we regulated like we can only buy so much per month, or we have to be accredited, or what?
yeah, exactly. So that's why I would prefer, I don't know if this is going to happen, that there's just a disclaimer that the US government isn't regulating this particular aspect of crypto, and you agree to waive that, and as a customer, and then you go in and do what you want to do.
Yeah, and it seemed like the place to do that would be at the centralized exchange level. So when you go on to, let's just say Binance.us, since that one's just for us, is if that disclaimer comes up, or maybe they have some new terms and services outlined we have to go through and read every page or whatever before we can actually trade or use that exchange kind of thing. That's the only way it makes sense in my head. It's like, well, we can talk about this, but what does that mean day to day, week to week?
Yeah, and that means they also have to give up the taxable aspects of it, because it's hard to tax what you can't track. And I think a lot of the regulatory themes are that they're protecting the consumer, but they're really just trying to control it or monitor it so they can tax you. Um, if you want the government to protect you, not to get into politics, but I would start talking about the whole thing with defund the police and criminal migrants and everything. That's where I want the government to protect me. When it comes to finance and investing and trading, I'd really like them just to get out of the way.
Right. And if there's something fraudulent like we saw with FTX, then go after them and whatever. I mean, obviously they broke some laws, what, 3 years ago or whenever all that happened, and they were prosecuted and that kind of thing. So we didn't need regulation for them to get taken down and stop operating, their business, type of thing. And they could have done the same thing with stocks or anything else. It wasn't a crypto problem, it was a ethical problem
Exactly.
kind of
Right.
thing.
But I don't think a lot of people realize that. I think they view it more as a crypto risk than just, plain out fraud.
Right. Yeah, definitely gave crypto a black eye and all that. Okay. Okay. Good. Let's see. Anybody else want to jump in? Um, just unmute and jump in. Alex, it looks like you're unmuted. You want to jump in and welcome. I don't think I saw you earlier, but welcome to our group.
Oh, yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. So I wouldn't show my face. It wasn't in a place to be able to show my face. So yeah, yeah. Just the first time here. Certainly enjoyed the hearing the conversation. The and the yeah, I agree with I think Dave. Or it's like yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed about the speed Trump had things are happening, but hearing that a lot of infrastructure work need to be done by policy, when I say infrastructure, yeah, that's enlightening. And I don't know if anyone has any insights on the Bitcoin miners and yeah, and things like that. I personally don't, but I do have some of the stocks, which hasn't been doing too well. So I don't know anyone has any thoughts there.
So of the large mining companies that are publicly held, is that
Bitcoin miners, like there's Royd, there's Marathon, and those things, right? It's not directly coins, but they were the Bitcoin miner companies. They certainly by doing that, and I think about sometime last year, they start issuing debts and then use those money buy coins. So I think they are. Um, so what they have is basically, you know, you're buying their stock, but they hold Bitcoins. So part of their value is the Bitcoin, not the coins they hold. But their stock hasn't been doing too well. I'm scratching my head. Certainly, mining coins getting harder and harder, right? With each halves and things like that. So yeah, just want to hear other people's perspective.
right, right. Okay. Yeah, we've talked about mining, Bitcoin and other coins, but we've never talked about the actual miners that are publicly held. And
Mhm.
it seems like if you wanted to buy a stock of somebody that's holding Bitcoin, you just buy MicroStrategies, or now they're
Yeah,
just
yeah,
changed their name to just Strategies, I guess. I saw that.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, when you get into what they're doing with mining and their financials, who knows? Are they leasing buildings? Are they buying buildings and investing in the infrastructure? Obviously a ton of energy and
yeah,
cooling
yeah.
infrastructure required there. So that's a whole, analysis just like any other business, or stock that you might purchase. And it's not really Bitcoin or cryptocurrency specific. Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
an interesting play though, just like, people buy gold and silver mining companies, to play that price.
Yeah, yeah, and presumably they have more expertise because they've been in this business for a long time. Um, in a sense, it's like, you know, you're buying actively managed funds, because yeah, they've been in the business. So instead of you make decisions on which coins to buy, and they would buy too, right? And so they would take that money and invest. But anyway, so yep.
Okay. And are you investing in crypto yourself, or are you kind of just like looking at the space as somewhere you want to invest,
No,
through through
yeah,
some.
yeah, I do have some funds in there. So as I said, in the miners, I've been actually having um them for a while.
Okay.
And also, some small amount of assets. Yeah, to me is um, it's a high risk, high reward play category. Yeah.
With okay, Mary, saw your comment there. Well, glad to have you on. Hopefully we can catch you again in the future. And maybe we can connect offline and talk about Chicago and commercial real estate too. So have a good one.
Thank, thank you. I appreciate it. I just needed to come in to see what it's all about, but everybody has been extremely helpful, giving me a lot of insights on crypto. I'm not feeling well today. That's why I couldn't be on camera. But yeah, I would love to come back and keep hearing from all of you men in here. You guys are very smart. This is amazing. Thank you for sharing all this. I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for joining us. And I do post a link to the recording of these meetings in the event on the event page, usually
Okay.
in the evening, like, tonight sometime. So you can
Okay.
go back there and then we have a, YouTube channel with all the recordings. So yeah, good.
Sounds great. Thank you again.
All right.
Happy weekend.
Take
Thank you.
care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Let's see.
Hey, Brad.
Yeah, go ahead, Phil.
So just going back to Alex's point around investing in services companies. So that's kind of an old model that's worked before, right? When we had the gold rush in California 150, 170 years ago. Levi Strauss made a lot of money selling uh, pants to the gold miners. And Mr. Studebaker sold them wheelbarrows. And, afterwards, they both did very well in their own businesses, while most of the gold miners didn't make anything. So that's an interesting play, but and I think like even Coinbase, you would have done well if you bought that. I think that's a listed stock. I don't think Kraken is a listed stock, or rather, yeah, Kraken.
Yeah, I don't think so
But
It's
either. There's
pre-IPO.
oh, it is
They
okay,
don't,
okay. But the thing is, when you look at the tokens themselves, the crypto tokens, the returns are so fantastic that even a well-performing stock doesn't seem to can't even touch them. So I think that's why people look at going directly into the coins.
right, right. And especially now that we have the ETFs that they can, get into. I've got a friend, we just had dinner last night, and he's not a techno, person at all. And he's, was kicking and screaming into text messaging years ago. But now, he uses it religiously like, most of us do. And so he got into the Bitcoin ETFs. I told him, I said, hey, there's other ones coming. And, you don't want to put in as much into each of those as the Bitcoin, but, maybe 10% of whatever you have in Bitcoin, put in the Solana one and 10% in the XRP ETF, that kind of thing. So there are those choices too for those that don't want to mess with the wallet, or an Coinbase account or that kind of thing. So that's the other
yeah.
strategy that makes it easy.
I use ETFs in my IRA mostly. Um, I also recommend not buying the BlackRock or like the really major Wall Street firm, Bitcoin ETFs. I just don't trust them like for voting on stuff in the future. You've ever heard like murmurs from BlackRock saying like, hey, why can't we one day maybe change the maximum supply of Bitcoin? Like that like scares me to death. You know
Uh,
what I mean? So like I don't want them to have as much, it's already pretty, just diluted, and I don't think they'll ever be able to get that much of it where they could really do that. But I don't want to help them. You know what I mean? So I try to encourage people not to buy those. If you're going to buy an ETF, buy the smaller ones. I like the Grayscale one. They were kind of in it from the beginning, and they kind of have crypto's best interest at heart. They're not going to try to, do that shady stuff. So
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Grayscale has been in it, and they were trying. It seems like they've been one of the pioneers, and getting hit by
yeah,
the arrows of government or whatever. And that's a real good point. on that. Yeah, the grayscale one. Okay. Have you anybody heard any time frame when we're going to see, like, I would imagine the Ethereum ETF would be the next one, and then maybe Solana and um, XRP after that. Any time frames out there?
I know they filed applications, but I haven't heard any timeframes. Um, yeah, I'm surprised they haven't already had the Ethereum one because there were a lot of applications were filed like with the last administration, and it seemed like they were going to go live, but I don't think they ever did. So, yeah, it's a good question. There should probably be probably a quicker review and approval process now, you would think, but I haven't heard any kind of timeframes on that stuff.
Yeah, I figured once Bitcoin, that they're the ones that, knocked down the wall to the ETFs. Once they did that, it would be easier for the other ones to do it.
Well, Bitcoin's the only one that's classified as a commodity, though, because the other ones are not
mm,
decentralized enough. There's
okay,
an issue
that's
where
that's
they all
true.
have issuers. They can just make more. So they're basically security.
Right, right. That's true. Yeah, so maybe that's a whole nother class, and once that class is able to do it, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. We'll
we
see
will
how it happens.
see.
I don't know.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering if they should just, invent a new class of digital assets that are separate from securities and commodities, so they're not always hand-wringing about what it is.
It seems like we're maybe close to getting that defined, um, with the few things I've heard or seen where, before they didn't want to define it because um, then they could go after people because there wasn't a clear cut rule or law. So, hey, Steven, I saw you jump in there. Did you want to make a comment?
I just had a question about price volatility, but I didn't want to
Okay.
totally derail or change the conversation. It seems this is a great conversation, by the way. I really enjoyed this. It seems like people are pretty well researched and experienced, so this is a valuable content for one, is what I would say. It seems like people are pretty bullish as a whole from where we are now with crypto moving forward, except Phil mentioned a couple things that I think were good points about the government could change everything very quickly. What are your guys' thoughts on it going down significantly and then going back into the kind of consistent cycle that it's had? Because it seems like there's a chance that we could be at the bubble right now. I don't know, but because or it's been growing for a long time, and it could be that the whales are already in, and a lot of the value has already been baked into the price for a long time, and then it'll crash and go down significantly and then go up in a couple of years like the pattern has been kind of since the inception. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are on more the bullish sentiment.
I don't see how we can be anything but bullish with, that,
Of
like we
course,
talked
yeah.
about the Bitcoin strategic reserves and things like that. It, I mean, and now it's in the public mindset more and more. So, I mean, this, my wife and I had dinner with this other couple, like I mentioned, the friend that, bought the ETF. And then my wife even mentioned, because we don't talk crypto at all. That's, not her thing. And she's like, yeah, I hear this more, and I'm just not sure about it. It was kind of interesting for me that, it's something we've never talked about as a couple. But, for her to even mention it like that, okay, it's a whole new, awakening, type of thing. And so I don't I don't see how we can be anything but bullish. I don't know what do you guys, I mean, obviously what Phil mentioned, potential issues, but I mean, you're not going to shut Bitcoin down like TikTok. I mean, TikTok is more, centralized where their servers are hosted and that kind of thing and that, but they could, yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Looks like, go ahead, Alex. I think you got unmuted there.
No, I don't have any comment.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
He's
All
been
right.
unmuted the whole
Yeah.
time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Anybody else want to jump in? Especially if you're newer and you just, like you may have more interesting perspective or a different perspective than some of what we've been talking about. So feel free to jump in, anybody.
I'll just add that for a lot of people who are traders and not investors, it doesn't matter if it's bullish or bearish. All they want is price movement in either direction. They'll go short as easily as they'll go long, or they'll maybe put on a delta neutral trade with options. And tends to be more retail investors who have the bullish sentiment and think of it in those terms.
Okay, let's see. Steve posted this article here. I'm going to bring up Steve. You want to give us the bullet points on this one?
Yeah, it's kind of a response to what Stephen was just talking about a minute ago about the Bitcoin cycle. I think it was Stephen.
Yeah.
Maybe people. It was just talking about the Bitcoin cycle, which is just, I guess, gone on forever, and it predates my time, so I can't speak to it with any authority. But my understanding is Bitcoin's kind of operated in this cycle, and they have halving, and there's a halving process, and then there's a response to that, and then 2 years later things get really bullish again. So this article is saying that the stuff that Trump's doing is quite likely breaking that cycle and moving it forward in a real bullish sense. And so, I mean, that's up for grabs. When he asked that question, I just remembered I read this article maybe a week ago or a couple of days ago, so I thought I'd go find it and grab it. So it can talk about that if you're more interested in that classical 4-year cycle. But this author is basically saying Trump might be smashing that to pieces, and we might find something new coming out that kind of reimagines that 4-year cycle thing. So just interesting that ties in with that last question.
Yeah, I kind of thought with the ETFs and Wall Street jumping in that would kind of break that cycle. But obviously we'll see. Dave, what do you?
I went to look for an article, Brad. I also, to me, it seems like the ETFs are taking a little bit longer than what crypto fans have been pushing for. Like if you read a lot of articles on the ETFs for Ethereum, Solana, and XRP, they made it sound like it's going to happen at the beginning of the year, kind of like what happened with Bitcoin at the beginning of last year. But I went and looked for this article. I couldn't find it, but it looks now like the Solana and XRP ETFs are more like the fall of this year, and Ethereum and Litecoin might be before them because they got actually in the queue before XRP and Solana. But every week, people are trying to push even more versions of ETFs. So there's a lot of pressure there. I don't know. I think maybe we wait and see when that actually happens, but they seem like some of them were predicting more for the fall.
Okay. Yeah, and I thought we'd see more action off of the ETFs 2, 3, 4 months after they launched because they did so well. My theory was that these quarterly reports would come out, and people would see how well they did. And they're like, oh, Mr. Schwab rep or Merrill Lynch rep, get me in that one, type of thing. And so I think that's probably been a little slower than I was thinking was going to happen on that. Okay. And I pasted these other links that you shared in the chat. Any ones there that you want to talk about or?
Those
Um,
the first two were about regulations, and so that was when we were having that conversation, kind of the
Okay.
value of regulation.
Yeah, okay. I'll keep my feelings to myself a little bit on that. Like, yeah, I just want government out of this stuff. Okay. Anybody else, or newer folks? I'd love to hear your input on what you guys think or where you think it's going, where you want it to go, how you want to get in, get out. Let's see what you got. Nurse turned off her video, but share with us where you're at, what you're looking to get out of crypto. Maybe she stepped
I
away.
can,
Oh,
if anyone wants to jump in, go for it. But I kind of wanted to weigh in on the topic there where, what's going to happen with the price, the volatility, like, the floor, the cycle. It's going to be really hard to compare this one to the other ones. Like a lot of the reasons that Brad said that this one's different. Before we never had the level of institutional adoption, the support from the government, things like that. So I think it will still have somewhat of the four-year cycle where there's going to be kind of a peak eventually. I'm guessing later this year, and then it will go into a downtrend, but the floor is going to be much higher. That's what my thought are. Is there's just too much big money, big pockets in play now that there's still always going to be volatility, but there's so much support now that it can only drop so low before people just start buying it up and bringing it back up. So I think our floor is going to be much higher this cycle. Like, if you compare to the last one, it peaked at almost, 68,000, and the floor ended up being around 16,000 for the winter, the down cycle. Who knows how high it can go this time? I'm guessing it's going to probably hit, this is just, don't take this as financial advice, but it could hit like 2 or 300,000 this cycle. And I think it could settle on the floor closer to where we're at right now, around 100,000. But that's just speculation, reckless speculation. I have no idea. We'll see.
that's all we can do on this. And yeah, this is definitely not financial advice. But I think it's, there's value in discussing it with other crypto folks. Because it's hard to find anybody that knows about crypto or, in our normal friends and family circles kind of thing. So that's good. Yeah, thanks for that new article, Steve. That's yeah, interesting. What was the other one that you had paired with the Ethereum? You said
Yeah, Solana and XRP have both had multiple, like 8 different applications for ETFs in the last week, and so Solana and XRP are really getting a lot of pressure to get in the. A lot of Black Rocks and Grayscales want to get XRP, Solana, and Ethereum in the ETF market also. So, but an article that I read, and I'm still looking for it right now, said that Litecoin was in front of them as far as when they had applied to become an ETF. So they're waiting to see if the SEC is going to take these in order of, well, the most pressure is to get XRP or Solana or Ethereum, or is their methodology going to be, yes, but Litecoin was in line first, so we're going to deal with Litecoin first, even though there might be more pressure for XRP. So I'm looking for that article, but it said, and I believe it said, that XRP and Solana are more towards the fall, September or October. Litecoin could be before that, and Ethereum could be before that.
okay. And I've got to ask, this is for anybody and everybody, is what the heck is Litecoin even doing anymore? I mean, they've been around forever. They were always referred to as the silver to the Bitcoin being the gold, but it's just like, what are they? It's like, why Litecoin? It's like, yeah, they've been around, but are they really doing anything?
That's a good question. Like that Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum Classic, all these things that were they were the large cap altcoins back in the day when there weren't very many. But now no one's building any projects on those blockchains. So yeah, I think it's just basically they just get this price action that follows the market, but they don't have any kind of momentum for the company. So I don't get why there's a push for the ETFs for those projects. So it doesn't
Yeah,
make
well,
any sense to me.
I mean, because originally when I got into Coinbase, it was Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and maybe Bitcoin Cash because they'd already forked at that point. But and I still tell people, yeah, Litecoin is great if you want to transfer funds because it's so well accepted because it was one of the early adopters. But they used to be like what, number 5 or 6 in market cap. Where in the heck are they now? 19.
19.
Yeah. And maybe they haven't gone down, but these others have, surpassed them kind of thing. But it's like, holy cow, I don't. I mean, we hear
Yeah, I
about,
don't know. I don't know what
Solana
she's for.
and these other ones, stuff going on, even Avalanche, but not Litecoin. So I don't know. Maybe it's those Litecoin folks that are, sitting on whatever they have and they they want some price action and they think that's the way to get it. But anyway, okay. Anybody else hear anything on Litecoin or any other new coins for that matter? We've, talked about some new coins here and there. Um, Ahmed, you want to jump in? I know thanks for the link, David.
Yeah, I just dropped a link to a really awesome video. It's kind of long. It's like 40 minutes long, but it's like for all those people that are like, why are you so obsessed with Bitcoin? What's the big deal? It's a great educational video that kind of talks about how the world's money is broken, and if you can fix the money, you can fix the majority of issues that kind of plague society. So it's a great video that kind of helps people understand it in a very simple and easy to kind of relate to way to explain it.
Okay. And yeah, let me put in here too, along that lines, Hidden Secrets of Money. There's that whole YouTube series that Mike Maloney has done along there. Yeah, no, good point. And yeah, no, these videos are a great way to educate folks. So let me put that link in here. I don't hope it doesn't start playing. Okay, good.
Have you guys followed what United States Senator from Wyoming, Loomis, has been talking about as far as the strategic reserve and Bitcoin?
Yeah,
No.
she's one of the original
Oh,
champions of it. Yeah.
and she's one of the original champions. And your in this video that you just posted, David, I'm going to go out and try and find one that I watched with her. She was just interviewed this last week by two Bitcoiners, and they were talking to her and saying, "Hey, what brought you into this space?" And quite frankly, she's older than I am. What do you know? So she's up there, and she was saying that Bitcoin has the power, and the why she's pushing for a strategic reserve, and what's the United States itself to get in Bitcoin is because, in her opinion, Bitcoin has the power to erase the United States debt. So, Brad, you and I have known each other for 15 years. I think it was probably within the first week we talked about all this debt burden that we're under, and we've put our children and our grandchildren under all of this debt and debt financing and debt servicing of the trillions of dollars. And quite frankly, even Donald Trump's a huge spender. I know that Doge is working now, but in his first 4 years, 8 years ago, he put us like another 10 trillion in debt. So that just keeps mounding up on our shoulders. And Loomis is talking about how if the United States could best invest in Bitcoin, hold it 20 years, we will have cut that debt down in half. And if we hold it longer than that, we could theoretically erase the debt. And so she said, my generation, and she was talking to two young guys, and she said, my generation has really put a huge burden on your generation and your children. She goes, in my opinion, the United States of America needs to do this to undo the problems that we've created for future Americans. So I thought it was fascinating. So David, when you talked about the power of Bitcoin, that is the power of it. Quite frankly, the power of Bitcoin. It could work. Now, is gonna work? Is that type of thing going to happen in the next 5 years? No, she's talking about holding Bitcoin for 20 or 30 years. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, I like a lot of people, the really hardcore Bitcoiners like Michael Saylor, and a lot of other people are like, why don't we just literally sell all the gold we have as a reserve asset and just buy Bitcoin with it? And that would kind of like tank the price of gold, but it would also skyrocket the price of Bitcoin. And then that would, we could basically erase the debt eventually, like the same thing, the same kind of philosophy. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm all for it. Like it's going to turn into like an arms race instead of like everyone piling up nukes. They're going to be piling up Bitcoin for their, strategic Bitcoin reserves for each country, and it becomes like a Bitcoin race, which kind of fuels the price, and that's how it can get to like 1 million, $10 million plus per Bitcoin, literally. So it could happen.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so when we hear $500,000 Bitcoin, it's not completely crazy. We're just so early in the state, in the stage. It's like, what percent of the population or even in the US is even holding Bitcoin? We're like 5% maybe?
Less than that, I would assume, like probably less than 2%.
Right.
Yeah, it seems like you know, maybe 8 or 10% even know what cryptocurrency. They've heard of Bitcoin, but they don't know what it is. They don't know how it works, you know. So if we could get that to 20% and the number of people holding to 6 or 8% from two, what would that do to the price? You know, yeah,
Yep,
crazy.
yep.
Crazy. Steve, you mentioned that the senator was from Wyoming, and Wyoming was kind of put some things in place to become more crypto friendly for businesses. Did they mention anything Wyoming specific for that?
She talked about Wyoming specific. One of the two guys, so she's working on the federal level, although she's a state or she is the senator from Wyoming. She did talk about Wyoming opening up the ability of
The banks?
the banks and government, like the big union unions can invest or retirement programs can invest. However, and I'm going to find this video. I'll find it in the next couple minutes. One of the guys that was interviewing her belongs to a company that is trying to recruit states to do their own strategic Bitcoin reserve. So we have a senator talking about it at the national level, and then one of the guys belongs to a company. I don't remember the name. Their job is to go around and get states, and he talked about Utah, quite frankly, probably being the first state to pull for a strategic Bitcoin reserve because, and he has great reasons. They only meet every other year. They're all lined up. They have to get it done this year. So they're in a rush to get it done. But we've seen like 9 other states also getting in line and getting a debate going about a strategic reserve for other states. And so that number's growing. So it's very interesting. Somebody, maybe Brad, it was you that talked about this arms race. And while we're seeing the price of Bitcoin being lowered a little bit right now, in all reality, there is becoming an arms race for who's going to pull the trigger on a strategic reserve for Bitcoin. And I think Trump knows that it has to be America. But at the same time, when you listen to all of the old stock market guys, the Warren Buffetts and all those guys, I think he's trying to figure, okay, how do I move us to Bitcoin without these guys freaking out? So as the dollars become more stable in the last couple of days, and then that hurts Bitcoin. So I wonder if they have to make a choice between the dollar versus Bitcoin. Everybody probably on this Zoom meeting wants them to choose Bitcoin. I want them to choose Bitcoin. I think the dollar's a failed product, but everything is tied to the dollar. So I guess we have to give them a little space to figure that out. But there's a lot of states that are moving towards strategic Bitcoin reserve. And so I'm going to go find that video while somebody else takes the floor.
Yeah, I saw that too. I think about 15 states have applied for that, I think. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's great.
I would think Texas would be one of the leaders. They're
Yep.
already doing their old gold thing and that kind of stuff. I, I mean, it'd be great for the US to be first to do that, but it almost seems like it might be somebody like Dubai that's so crypto friendly in a smaller country that
Yeah,
could,
or Saudi Arabia or
yeah,
something.
maneuver quicker. Yeah.
But I do I a lot of this kind of like slipped through. A lot of people didn't really catch this, but did you see Trump signed into law? They started a sovereign wealth fund for the United States,
Yeah.
similar to what kind of Saudi Arabia, other countries are doing, where they're basically just taking instead of using our money, tax money to blow it on worthless stuff, they're taking our tax money and actually investing it and generating more money with the tax money, which is like duh, like why haven't we done this like forever ago? But that's great news. I don't know what they're going to invest in, but maybe there's some more Bitcoin, support there possibly. But yeah, just all the different things that are creating momentum. Technically, we kind of already have a Bitcoin reserve just because of all the Bitcoin our government's confiscated over the years. So we're sitting on a lot, you know what I mean? So we already kind of have one, but it's not really designated as that. So once we have the reserve, then they can just keep adding to it regularly. So that's kind of what I'm excited about. I don't endorse Michael Saylor's plan where he's like the first country to just print as much money as they can and buy Bitcoin with it wins. I'm like, I'm not a big fan of that. But I do like selling the gold and other things like that's more of a my style of comfort level. So yeah, I like that idea.
That is a good strategy though, but it's like they'd have to do it quick enough before their economy collapsed.
Yeah, you'd have to transition to a Bitcoin st as the standard your money's backed by
Yeah, maybe El
to do it.
Salvador could do that since they're already, the most advanced probably per capita of, using Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Hmm, that's interesting.
Um, yeah, if you don't mind, I would kind of like to give people an update on, the stuff I've been doing.
Oh yeah, please. Yeah, do you want to let
I've
me start?
actually, I
You
gotta
want to
kind of be a little more careful what I say just because our compliance team keeps cracking down on me for sharing too much stuff publicly because we're a private investment club. So,
absolutely.
I'm not gonna say the name of it, but yeah, I'm the chief operations officer of a private investment club. Brad, and I think Steve, I think you're in it too. Yeah, we have a team of traders trading for us, earning roughly about 5% a month the last couple months. But um, I did, after I kind of helped them discover, come to this conclusion. Like we consulted some tax guys, so we thought we were going to be able to not have to deal with issuing kind of like K1s or 1099s, but after consulting with some tax firms, we will have to issue K1s to all the members for. So darn it, we are going to have to pay taxes, on that profit. Unfortunately, it's not it's kind of like the covered call ETFs where there's like unqualified dividends. It's kind of like that same
Mm.
situation. Um, so that I know a lot of taxes, so that's a good problem to have, right? So, but another big update is we're close to launching the automated trader onboarding system, and that will be a public thing. That's going to be a completely separate platform that will be public and global and like huge. So I can't talk about that. That should be launching in a month or two, and that's going to be called Traders Empire, and that's gonna fuel the profits for the fund, but they're going to be completely separate entities. But it's going to be actually revolutionary. If anyone is familiar with prop firms, a prop firm is there's these companies out there that entice traders to like, hey, if you sign up with us and you pass all these tests, then you can get access to extra funds to trade with. But like literally 95% of the people never pass the test and just pay fees. And then, oh, you failed the test, you got to pay the fee to try again. But they're trying to get access to extra funds to trade with. Um, but 95% of them never do it. And the prop firms just sit there and just steal money from people basically. So what we're doing is with us, with Traders Empire, you won't have to take any tests. There'll be like a small onboarding fee and a small monthly fee, but you put in your money and then we give you matching funds, like a four times matching fund. So if you put in 1,000, we'll give you access to four more thousand to trade with. You put in 5,000, we'll give you like 20,000 to trade with. So you have like a much more to trade with. When you earn profit, you split the profit with us. But if you lose money, the most you can lose is however much money you put into the account. So our maximum drawdown is the money the trader puts in. So basically, our funds, assets under management, are protected, and the funds that the traders are risking, they're risking their own money. If they lose it all, they can put in more and just get access to the funds again. But we kind of created a system where we're going to have huge demand. Like there's a huge demand for this because basically there's no restrictions on like, hey, you have to be like this elite trader and pass all these tests to get access to this extra fund. We're like, hey, you come in, you pay the fee, you can trade with our funds, but if you screw up, you can only lose your own money. So it's going to create like thousands and thousands of traders are going to be flocking in once we can get the system up and going. It's not launched yet, but it'll be called Traders Empire. It's going to be huge. And if you're someone that likes to trade, it's a great tool for you because you get extra funds to trade with for a small fee. If you make money, then you split it with us. And if you fail, if you traded on your own and you lost your money, you lose your money anyway. So it's really no different than trading on your own, except if you win, then you're making more money. So we're just going to have, I'm projecting, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of traders trading for us eventually. Like, and we have like we basically created our own exchange. The founders like bought their own exchange, like all those like forex trading companies, stuff like that. We literally created our own because there wasn't one out there that would kind of fit all the stuff we needed to do. So we built our own, and we have a huge like line of credit backing us. Like I don't even want to say the number. I'm not supposed to, so I'm not. So,
Yeah. Be careful,
but yeah,
Dave. Be careful.
yeah, I don't want to go too far, but it's going to be massive. So, on both ends, if you are someone that likes to actively trade, you definitely want to check that out. If you're someone that is looking for more of the put in your money passive income type of thing, then connect with Brad. He can connect you with the private fund, and it's a great institution. Like we've launched last year, and it's gotten better and better. So we're on the precipice of some significant return on investment increases. So definitely want
Yeah.
to check in with Brad and get connected with that if you haven't already.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I'm
go ahead,
I'm liking
Steve.
it. And the big thing here is that, like I mentioned earlier, mentioned the French toast. Dave and I have known each other probably 15 years as
Longer
well.
than that, like
He's
25 years actually.
yeah, I don't want to mention how long it's maybe 20, but
We're
yeah, yeah,
old.
yeah.
We're old,
Yeah.
man.
Well, and I've got a couple on you too,
Yeah.
but you're here in Fresno. We see you all the time. The other guys that are involved are local too, so we know, it's not some guy in Dubai with a great crypto thing. It's like, no, we know you and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So
It's
it's,
an
yeah,
American-based, it's an LLC actually. So when you join, you become a member of the LLC.
exactly. Yeah. No, it's you guys have done a great job, and I only wish I would have got in earlier, but you know,
Try to tell you, but
I
yeah.
I know, I know you're I
Now,
know.
where's Lino at? Lino's like keeps saying I'll join, and then he never joins. Yeah,
Yeah, and
you gotta bug him about.
it's such a low minimum now. It's like it's a no-brainer, especially what he's doing with some of the coins. So
Yeah, it's
anyway,
like
well,
$1,000 minimum. Yeah, it's low for most people, but not every. That's a lot for a lot of people. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not chump change, so to speak, but it's when you started, it was higher, and so
yeah, now it's
it's all
much
good.
more
All,
accessible. So
all good. Okay, cool,
yeah,
cool.
connect with Brad if you want to get information on that and possibly invest.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and Mary was talking about she was the first one that was on and was talking about trading. So I think probably one of the meetings we'll have is talking about trading in general, and then maybe some trading bots and the copy trading. She was mentioning she was doing that for Forex and those kind of things because we haven't and we seem to talk about that about once a year, have a meeting and it's like, okay, what's new and different since we talked about it a year
Yeah,
ago? But it's
it's
still
hard to find. It's hard to find a good copy trading platform. I mean, there's not. I don't think it's technically allowed in the United States. I'm not sure. You can't really find that in the United States very easily. So I think you use kind of like one of those, like you have to use a VPN maybe. I don't know. Go ahead, Steve.
yeah.
Yeah, Dave, I wanted to ask you a couple questions. I think it's fantastic. I would be interested in that.
Hmm.
Um, a couple questions. I don't think, because I know about your other platform, it's not going to be crypto only, right? You
No,
could
you can
trade
trade
stocks,
stocks, you can trade
options.
Forex, commodities, whatever you want.
Fantastic. And then also, do they have to be day trades? Do you have to be in and out of the trade on
Nope.
the same day,
Trade
or
however
can
you
you
want.
share?
No
Okay.
restrictions. Trade whatever you want, however you want.
Wow. Wow.
That's all those prop firms have all those restrictions. Like you have to do this type of trade. You can't do that. You can't use this strategy. You got to close the trade. Like with us, do whatever you want.
Yeah. Because there's been a couple, like this last week, I kind of saw I saw a micro strategy. You guys know that they rebranded, right? They dropped
Yeah.
micro to strategy now.
Yeah.
And I saw some of that stuff kind of as a negative, and I could kind of see there's something in my thought process, something I don't like here. So I got out of MicroStrategy. The same day I got into an AI stock called Palantir. I don't know if you guys do any
Yeah. I know
stocks.
Palantir.
Yeah, Palantir, a very just like launching. Like, so when somebody here in our meeting today said, stocks can't do what crypto can do. And then generally I agree with that, but Palantir for the last year was 400%, was up 400%. It's just a regular company.
Yeah.
So I moved from MicroStrategy into Palantir. This is all, by the way, inside of my self-directed Roth IRA. So I can't buy crypto with it anyway, right?
You
So I
can buy
can't do
ETFs, but yeah.
you can buy ETFs or MicroStrategy. And that's what I did, David. I bought
Yeah.
MicroStrategy. But then I thought, I'm not quite sold on this rebranding thing. And I saw the hesitation in the price of Bitcoin. And so I moved my money into Palantir. It was a 14% benefit to me because MicroStrategy went down 7% that day. Palantir went up 7% that day. So it was a fantastic move. But I held it for a couple of days and then I rebought some MicroStrategy because I want to be in that. That's what I want to hold. So, and then MicroStrategy. So, anyway, in your deal, we could hypothetically go back and forth between cryptos and regular stocks and then even options.
The Trader's Empire, you can buy whatever you want. So
Okay.
but it is we'll have to see once it launches exactly what's available. I think they might only have like indices. You might have to trade like certain like I don't know if you can trade individual stocks. I think you can, but you might have to trade like full indices like the S&P 500, NASDAQ 100, like stuff like that, possibly.
Oh, I
Um,
could not make a Palantir choice.
I think you can, but I don't not sure. Like those
Okay.
trading platforms are kind of usually they're more focused usually on like Forex and things like that. But I think you can trade individual stocks, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to see when it launches kind of what the options are available.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'd be interested.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll see. It should be launching in the next. We're beta testing very soon. They just built out the website, and they're going to bring on a few traders to kind of test the onboarding system. And then once that kind of gets all the kinks worked out, then we'll start bringing in more and more traders to kind of test it, and then we can kind of go public with it. Hopefully in a couple months.
Beautiful. Great creative
Cool.
thinking.
Yeah, yeah. That's making a product that the public and the marketplace needs. So that's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. Okay. Anybody else? Any questions or thoughts, especially if you got ideas, topics you want to see us cover in the future? Either, jump in, unmute, or if you want to just type it in chat, whether it's something like trading or cold wallets, DeFi exchanges. I'm seeing, people get into DeFi exchanges a lot quicker than we did back in the day, but they weren't around when we started, so we have that excuse. So
There
anybody?
is there is a pretty decent size crypto convention coming up in Las Vegas. I think it's in May. Is anybody here local in the Fresno area interested in going to that? I'd be kind of interested.
Me possibly. May is kind of a busy month for me, but once we launch Traders Empire, we're looking at places to kind of promote it. So if it's up and going, I might be possibly interested in going there.
All right. Or you could send me out there to man your booth for you.
Yeah, you can
Or
run a
we
booth
could
for
do
us.
it together, right?
We can
But
have a convention.
I'll find out the stuff, David. I'll have it ready. Brad, is our next meeting still 2 weeks from now? Is it an in-face meeting or in-person meeting? I mean, or
Yeah, I've got those scheduled out through I think April or whatever. Yeah, yeah, and then I'll get the I've fallen a little behind on scheduling these Zoom ones, but I'll get back up on it. That's why I was looking for the topics that we want to cover. But I think we're gonna, and I want to try to get the guy back about the Web3 stuff. They couldn't join us because of the fires. Um, but I think probably next month we're going to be talking about taxes. I'd rather do that in March and give people a little time than wait till April at the last minute kind of thing. Um, so I'll get that one scheduled and go from there. Did I schedule? Yeah, I scheduled April around Easter because Easter's late this year. Yeah. So that's always a challenge with the different holidays and stuff. Any other topics you want to see, Steve? I know, you're relatively new, but you dove in head first on this. Are there
yeah.
any topics you want to get into?
I know Lino wants to talk at some point about how to farm. He kind of walked me through it. And I did some of it. It was very interesting. I made $124 in about an hour. So I was like, wow. And he said, yeah, but this was that was a Trump coin. So he said, yeah, you're not going to make that much money per hour. But it was very interesting. But he had to hold my hand, and I thought it was interesting enough that it could make a great topic.
Okay, yeah, I'm pulling up our YouTube channel. I think it was just we did that in November or something. But definitely want to talk about something in the trading realm. Phil, are you doing anything with trading or run across anything that we might want to share with the whole group?
No, I've been too busy, but I'll let you know when I do. And I'm still interested if your friend, the Web3 developer, can make his presentation.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'll see for I I didn't want to hit him too soon because I know the fire. There's I mean he's got his sister lost her house and the brother was moving and whatever. I wanted to try to give him some space there, but I'll try to get him on for April. We'll do crypto, yeah, and then maybe trading in May. Steve, yeah, we just did with this yield farming here back in November that Lino shared with us
Oh, okay.
then. So
Yeah, that was I didn't know about that. And so I just said that I think he should do it, but he's already done it. He also talks a little bit about something he's done is you're able to use your crypto coins to borrow money at a very low rate and convert it to USDC and buy more crypto. So I haven't done that yet. I haven't followed him down that rabbit hole, but there's some interesting things out there.
yeah, we got to make sure that the platform is secure. Like Celsius was a big one that did that, and they went down. Um, so that's
Hmm.
one of the risks. But no, definitely something interesting to talk about, especially if you're actively trading or farming or that kind of thing, as opposed to just hodling, kind of thing. So that'd be good to talk about too. Okay, good. All right. Any last minute thoughts, guys, or questions? Anybody jump in or
I like the
chat?
new start time. This is good, 9 a.m.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, it seemed like everybody was either neutral or leaning towards 9, so I thought we'd try it. I didn't see a bunch of people jump in at 10, so maybe that's a good sign. So yeah, we'll keep it here and appreciate the feedback, Phil, for sure. And kind of the idea was to give us more time after the meeting to get on with our Saturday activities. Maybe
Yeah, I
I
like
need
it
to,
nine too. I like it.
okay, maybe if I schedule like 8:30, I'll swing by for French toast next month.
Maybe we'll see.
Okay, we'll stay in touch. All right, guys. Thanks for
Thanks,
the
Brett.
meeting. We'll
Thanks,
see you
everybody.
in 2 weeks in person and next month online. Take care.
Thank
Have
you.
a good weekend.
You